Hi friends! It's Self-Care Sunday. We're here and it's the final week of, I was going to redo my bun because it's very weird, but here we are. It's the final week of the self-care series. So we'll still be incorporating the topic of self-care into every week, but these 4 weeks have been really devoted to self-care as a larger topic. So self-care is just all the time, always. So this week is about sticking with it and consistency and having this be a regular part of your daily routine, your morning routine, your night routine, whatever that looks like, weekly routine. So just as a review, we have gone through week 1, which was I feel taken care of, and we kind of created a self-care menu for ourselves. Then we did nothing standing in my way, and that was to get through the blocks that might stop you from taking care of yourself. And then last week we talked about planning it out. So really getting your self-care on your calendar and making it a non-negotiable for your life. So you should be in a really good spot right now. I sent out a quick email this morning and I asked you to just kind of think for yourself about the transformations that you have had in these 4 weeks. I mean, we're going into week 4, but I guess in the past 3 weeks, like what has changed for you, what has kind of come up for you, and even if it's just one small piece of awareness that you have, that is transformational and that is important. And that's a big deal because the little things build up. And that's what I talked about on my post the other day, that by staying consistent with doing yoga every single day, even just 30 minutes, like, and some days it's less than that. Every once in a while it's a little bit longer, but mostly I do yoga for 30 minutes every day. And just that little task, I mean, it's not little, but like in the scheme of things, that little task has led me to hitting what I basically thought was a joke fitness goal of picking a keg up. And it really is about consistency. It's about continuing to do the little things every single day, and that will result in a big change. And it is very hard to see those changes when they are, happening really incrementally and really small to start. The bigger changes become harder to see because you don't remember how you used to be and the thoughts that you used to have. That's something that I am challenged by at times, to really think about what transformations have I had. And it can be hard because it's like, well, I've just always been this way, right? But I haven't. Like, I've grown a lot, even just in the last month. And sometimes if you're so in it all of the time, it can be hard to see how far you really have come. And so it's really important to take a step back, and that's why to take a step back and look at how far you have come. And that's why these workbooks really are very helpful for you. However, I mean, you don't even have to do the workbooks, but just some form of like journaling and getting things down on paper. Because then if you go back to the week 1 and you think about how you were feeling then and some of the things that you were challenged by, if even one of those things has improved, that is incredible. That means that you've had transformation in 3 weeks, and that is a very short period of time. So that's a really important piece of it, is however you're documenting it, it is important to keep track because you will forget. You'll forget the challenging thoughts that you used to have when you've come so far. And the reason that that's important is because if you don't see that, it can be hard to feel like you can accomplish things moving forward. Because if you don't see the progress that you've already had, and then you think of this huge goal ahead of you, it can feel really daunting if you don't then tap into the fact that you've already done things like that before. Just because you haven't done this particular task, you've done challenging things before and accomplished them. And if you can tap into that power, it becomes a lot easier to believe that you are going to complete the task or the activity or the habit or like whatever that looks like. So today is I'm sticking with me. So this is all about consistency. And a lot of this is you coaching yourself. So if you've never had a coach before, if you've never coached yourself, if you don't really know what coaching is, feel free to ask questions. Let me know. I'm always available to chat about that. But this is kind of what this is getting you into the habit of doing, is like consistent assessment of yourself. And a really quick side note, I don't want you to take this so far that you're like nitpicking every little thing that you do, but it is a useful tool when you are saying, how can I accomplish this? How can I move forward with this? Why am I feeling blocked? I'm having an emotion that I don't really enjoy. Like, how can I feel that and move through it in a productive way? And coaching is a great way to do that. To really like check your thoughts. You might think that you're thinking one thing and really you're thinking something else, that once you see it, it's very easy to just let it go and think something else. But it can be hard to see that yourself. That's why having a coach is really helpful. But you can coach yourself and use different tools to see your thoughts and move yourself through various challenging parts of life. So there's a couple different things in here, and if you didn't go through the whole thing, some of it is just kind of like a resource for when you do need it. But if you did go through all of it, I went through all of it just to see what would come up for me, because you just never know. Sometimes you might feel like you're not blocked, and then you kind of go through something like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing that I was feeling, and now I like am able to see it and move through it. So there is a page that we'll get to it, but when you're feeling stuck, if you didn't go through that, totally fine if you're not feeling stuck, but it still could be helpful for you if, or not if, but like it could just still be helpful for you to go through it and see if there is anything that you might not be noticing that you're blocked by. So this self-care check-in on the first sheet is good for any period of time that you want to use it for. So my kind of intention for today was just to look back at the past week. But you could use this for one day. You could use this for a month. You could use this for anything. You could switch self-care for something else. Like, what did I plan for my guitar lessons? Or what did I plan for meal prep? Or like whatever your like goal is. Right now we're working on self-care. But you really... there's a cat. Whose cat is that? Oh my gosh. There's a magical cat. That's really exciting. It's really cute. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. That was exciting. Do you think I can steal it? It wouldn't be stealing if it just like wandered into my house, right? Okay. Cat. Oh, okay. This bun is really, it's a lot. So, the check-in. So what did I plan for self-care? So when you we're kind of thinking about like, what do I want to do for the next week? What did you schedule in? That's what what should have theoretically happened last week when we did plan it out. So what did you plan out? And write that there. And then what did I do? So maybe you did the things that you planned. Maybe you did some other form of self-care that you didn't plan. But focus on what were the things that you did do to take care of yourself. Really think back to the past week, or again, if you wanted to just do like yesterday or whatever works for you. And then for each of the things that you did, ask yourself, why did you do that? Just as a way to connect yourself to your own why. A lot of times, like what we'll do in the next one is, what did I not do? And then answer why. I find that sometimes can be an easier question to answer depending on, your reasons why. But I think that a lot of life, we focus on like, why did this happen? A thing that's like negative, or like, why didn't this happen? Or like, how did we do this wrong? But it's also important to ask yourself, like, why did this go right? Like, what did I do that was really good? or like that I think is good, or that was the intention. And why did I do it? How did that work so well? Because when you're always focusing on like how to avoid something happening again, or how to avoid not accomplishing something that you want to accomplish, then you're kind of always playing like, what's the word? Like, not disaster planning, but you're always like reacting to the circumstances that are already happening, and trying to troubleshoot. That's the word that I'm looking for. You're always kind of troubleshooting, which is great and like definitely part of this workbook today. But it's also important to notice the things that you're doing well and like how you're doing that, why you're doing that, and getting yourself in a place of accomplishment, because then you can tap into that more often versus tapping into, well, I suck and here's how I'm going to get better, which can be helpful. But like, what if you were thinking, I'm amazing and how am I going to continue being amazing? Like, that's also a useful thing to be thinking about. So for every self-care thing that you did, just think about, why did I do it? Like, what was the decision-making process that I made? Especially if it was something that you didn't plan out, but you just ended up doing for yourself. That's a really useful thing to say, oh, I just like off the cuff did this thing for myself. Why did I choose to do that? What were the circumstances surrounding it? To kind of think about like, how could I do that in the future? Or like, what does that look like? Just noticing those things is really helpful, I find. Then the next one is, what did I not do? And again, answering why for yourself. So not just saying, well, I didn't do that, that sucks, but like, why didn't you do it? Maybe you did something else that was important. Maybe you decided that it wasn't important anymore. Maybe you gave yourself an excuse. And that is the next page. So excuses. So this one really is trying to get you into the habit of coaching yourself. So for whatever thing that you didn't do, so I'll just use mine as an example. I had the intention this week to rebuild my altar next to my chair. To kind of like spruce it up, because I moved it and it's kind of like out of kilter, which it's no surprise that I've been like really tired all week, because that tends to happen when I don't tend to my altar. So that was the thing that didn't happen. So number one, acknowledge what actually happened. So what actually happened is I did not rebuild my altar. I moved it. I prioritized other things. I found myself just scrolling or like distracting myself from doing it. A lot of things happened. So acknowledging what really did happen and trying to stay in some sort of like a neutral space about that. Like, just what are the facts, what happened, and not judging yourself about that in this moment. The next part is to accept it and forgive yourself. So I kind of said to myself, it's okay. Like, I didn't rebuild it. No one is harmed. I mean, maybe my spirit guides are a little annoyed with me, but we'll chat and we'll work through it and it'll be fine. I know that it will happen. I know that I will do it. It's not like I'm never going to do it. So that's another thing that you can kind of say to yourself. And then I kind of just said to myself, I know it will happen if I set aside time for it. Like, I know the steps that I need to take to get there. And I just kind of need to talk to myself about why I didn't choose to do those things when I know how to do them. I know why I would want to do them. Why was it more appealing to me to not do that? Like, what was the choice that I made? Because I made the choice that was easier, that was more appealing, that sounded more fun. And sometimes it's just a matter of like not tapping into the fact that that is fun and that is something that you enjoy. I don't know why this is, like, I quite honestly don't know why this is a thing that we do, but we don't tap into the fact that we enjoy things and then we don't do them because we forget that we like them. Like, maybe none of you do this, but I do this quite often. And it's, I'm choosing things that I think are going to be more enjoyable, whether it's conscious or not. But the fact that I'm not connecting that in my brain is something that I'm still working on because I don't really understand it. But it's something that I do, that I just like forget that I enjoy doing things and that I make it a chore for myself instead of saying, this isn't a chore, this is something that you like, this is self-care. Like, it's just a conversation that you might need to have with yourself. Whatever that conversation looks like for you, like, that's the conversation that I have with myself and the thing that I'm working through. So yeah, accept it, forgive yourself, like write yourself a note as you would if you were talking to a friend that was going through this. If like your friend came to you and was like, I didn't rebuild my altar this week, like what would you say to them? You'd be like, okay, that's fine. Like, are you going to do it? Do you want to do it? Like, I think you're gonna take care of it. It's totally fine. Like, what is this space that you would come from if you were completely removed from it and you were just like coaching yourself through the moment? And then you want to offer yourself a solution. So you might go through that and realize like, well, actually I don't want to do this activity, or it's not important to me, or I just want to table it for now. Like that might be a thing. So the solution might be, okay, just leave it for now. Like that's totally fine. You don't have to do it. You can never do it. Like that's the solution, is like crossing that off the list as something you're not going to do. Or if you do still want to do it, how are you going to make that possible? And you might tap into some of the other week's workbooks to kind of think about that. Like, could I ask for help from someone? Could I work on my schedule? Like, did I just kind of let my days get away from me versus like using my time intentionally? Even if that intentional time is like break time. I feel like this is kind of a challenging thing right now, that if we're using our time intentionally, it sounds like we need to be like hustle productive all the time, and that's not the case. It's just a matter of the more intentional you are with your time, the less stress you often have, because you know why you're doing something when you're doing it, versus just like passively spending your time doing things. So yeah, offer yourself a solution and kind of figure out how you're going to do it, and really brainstorm that and think about it. So that's how you would work through excuses, which are really just reasons why you chose something else. Like it's not even an excuse. It's just, why did I choose something other than the thing I had intentionally decided I wanted to do? Then I have another self-care check-in. And so this is kind of like doing this process, but looking forward. So like, what will I do tomorrow, next week, next month? So whatever time frame that you're looking at for your self-care. Again, you might want to go back through the other workbooks to decide like what that looks like for yourself. Decide how much time you need, if you need it every day, every week, every month, or even this year. Okay. And then for each thing that you add on there, make sure that you know why you're doing it, and then also when you're going to do it. So don't just say, I want to start dancing. I mean, you can say that, but it's not going to be as effective as if you say, I want to start dancing because that feels really good in my body. I really enjoy dancing. It's something that brings me joy. It is something that makes me feel strong. It makes me feel connected to my body. And it's really important to me that that is my form of exercise. And I'm going to do it 3 times a week. And here's where I'm going to fit it in my calendar. Like that just holds a lot more weight than I'm going to start dancing. Like, okay, what does that look like if you just start dancing? So just think about that to kind of give it a little bit more weight, which will make it more inevitable that it'll happen, which is the next question. How will I make this inevitable? So who can I ask for help? I know who to ask for help. Oh, Domino went outside. He probably heard the cat. I thought he was coming in here. Rude. How will I make this inevitable? So what are the circumstances that you are going to create to make sure that you are dancing 3 days a week? Are you going to cut out other things in your schedule that might get in the way? Are you going to put it in your schedule right now and ask for help from anybody that affects your schedule so that you know that that is your dedicated dance hour? Whatever that looks like. Yeah, so just start thinking about how you will make it so that even if you don't feel like it, even if you're tired, even if someone calls you and you're in the middle of starting to do that, like can you just put your phone down? Can you not answer the call? Can you call them back? What are you going to do to dedicate that time to yourself? And then I added this little page of when you're feeling stuck. So I mentioned this in the beginning. And you can use this now. You can use this whenever you are feeling stuck, whenever you kind of notice you're not taking care of yourself or you're not like participating in self-care. And this can get you kind of thinking about like, what's the problem? How can I move through it? And so the questions are, do I feel taken care of? And even if you say yes, answer why. So it's just, you know, as you go along, it's important to always ask yourself like, why? Because it'll give you a fuller answer than just saying, yeah, I feel taken care of. Like, okay, what are the circumstances that are creating that? Okay, hold on. Oh, sweet little baby. Domino. Say hi. Hey, Domino. Okay, sweet little baby. He is a little baby. It's like warm out, but I don't think it's that hot right now. I like it hot, so maybe that's part of it, but it doesn't feel particularly hot, and he is acting like it's 1,000,000 degrees right now. I don't know what his deal is, but... So, do I feel taken care of? Why or why not? Do I feel nourished? Why or why not? I actually said no to that because I'm finding that I'm not eating at the appropriate hours, and so throughout the day, like, spiritually I feel nourished, but like body-wise, I'm finding that I'm not feeding myself appropriately. I'm feeding myself, but just like it's not working for my body. And that's something that is important to note if you're consistently feeling that way. Okay, what am I going to do? Like, this is not a comfortable feeling. How am I going to solve this? Do I feel grounded? Why or why not? And I said yes and no because I mostly feel grounded, but then I feel a little unsettled because my altar is kind of all over the place. So that is something that still is important to me. And then if you answered no to any of these, how could you feel that way? So what could you do to feel taken care of, nourished, grounded? And you can put whatever adjectives that you want in those spots. Like if taken care of, nourished, grounded don't really resonate with you right now, and there's something else, like you want to feel energized or you want to feel powerful or whatever word that is, just add that in and answer that for yourself. This will work just as great. And then ask yourself, how could I feel that way if you're not feeling that way? You're a baby. Well done. No. Are you perfect? Yeah. Okay. He's so cute. Okay. And then the final thing is a brain dump, because I love a brain dump. And so the first week we did a brain dump of all of the activities that could be a form of self-care for you. And this is similar to that, except what you're going to ask yourself is, what did work? What did nourish me? What did ground me? What did help me feel taken care of? So really pull on the things that did feel like self-care to you. Because you might have had things on here that once you actually did them, you're like, not so much. And you might not have thought of some things that if you really look back to your week, like, what did feel really good? What could I add to this list that I know does nourish me and ground me and make me feel energized, and whatever that looks like. So these are two really great lists to have. The things that could be a form of self-care and the things that you know are a form of self-care. So as you go through your life, you can just add things to this list of what does help you feel taken care of. So I put yoga, walks, journaling, reorganizing, being outside, building my altar, art night, making a zine, taking a bath, listening to music, drawing. That was something that I wouldn't have put that on there before, but since we drew at art night, it really felt fun. Like, it felt nourishing, and it was really nice to do it with other people, so it felt connecting. Making food, which Nikki, I made those pumpkin rolls today, and they are super good. And also my house smells like beer because of the yeast. It's really like the whole house. It's really funny. Making lists is a way that makes me feel taken care of. Reading, FaceTiming with friends, making playlists, playing guitar, plants, just existing makes me feel taken care of. So yeah, that's that. What do you have on your list? I want to know. What are the things that you think could work? What are the things that did work for you this week? Let's see, what worked for Domino? Domino likes WALKs. His cousin puppy came over, and he likes playing with his cousin puppy. Puppy cousin? I don't know. What else does he like? He loves laying out in the sun in the grass and rolling around in the grass. So that's a form of self-care for Domino. He really likes when mom is home. That's a form of self-care for him, which, agreed. I planned every afternoon to follow Adrian's May yoga schedule. I love it! Are you doing all of the meditations? I didn't look at the calendar because I'm doing a different 30-day yoga thing with Adrian. Cooking myself a good meal has been a good self-care. Yes. Yeah, I need to get some groceries. Sweet. Meditation and yoga. Yeah, that was the one thing that I added on here. I stopped doing meditation a little while ago, and I think I'm going to bring it back in. I think I'm going to start doing a nightly routine because I don't really have a night routine, and I have a hard time decompressing at the end of my day. Like, my morning is so nourishing that I think it would be really helpful to have, like, a nightly routine. So I might either follow that May calendar or I have the Calm app as well. But meditation is a really good tool. And I have a lot of resistance, which means that I should probably do it. Because usually what you have resistance for, too, is something that's going to help. And cooking, yes. I love it. I did make some more cashew milk this week, and it is not viscous like it was before, which is a gift to this world. I love it. Okay, so we have all... I'm sorry. I know, I moved very quickly. That was scary. We have all of our workbooks. Feel free to, print out whatever one you need in that moment. Or I say print because I have to write things down pen to paper. I just cannot do it on a computer or whatever. But yeah, there's the little calendar pages that might be helpful. This one that I sent today, I think each page could kind of be standalone for in the moment whenever you need that kind of support. I think that this, what did I plan for self-care? What did I do? What did I not do? Could even be a daily practice to kind of check in with yourself. There was a nightly journaling thing that I was doing a while ago. It was one thing that you're grateful for, one thing that you learned, and one thing that you're inviting in, I think were the three prompts. And that can be a helpful practice also to kind of be thinking about, oh, buddy, he's so hot. I'm sorry. I'll show you. He's so upset. He doesn't like it when it's cold. He doesn't like it when it's hot. But that journaling practice is kind of similar, and it might be a helpful daily practice as well. But yeah, you have all of these. So the self-care series is now completed. I hope that this was really helpful. Let me know how it goes. Let me know how your self-care practice goes moving forward, and how it shifts. Mine shifts all the time because I'm just always listening into my body, in my mind, and that changes because everything changes all the time. Next, we're going to talk about goals. Yay! This series has been very helpful. Yay! I'm glad. It's been fun. I've been having fun with this. I love making workbooks, so that's part of it. I should have written that down Making workbooks is honestly self-care for me. I love it. So next, we're gonna talk about goals. So some of this stuff will apply to that. And I want to preface it again by saying that there's no need for goals to be like hustly, productive things. They can be nourishing and energizing and grounding and supportive. So just know that going into it. Don't be turned off by the idea of setting big goals. It's a fun thing. It's an exciting thing. Growth is fun. And I love talking about goals. So we're going to do that starting next week for 4 weeks. And hopefully Domino makes it through this heat that's barely hot. I think he will. But it's really unsure right now. Let me know if you have any questions. If you want to take this work further and work with me one-on-one, I am taking clients and we can really hone in on what is specifically blocking you or getting in the way of you taking care of yourself or accomplishing big goals. So I'd be happy to chat about that and what that looks like. Domino is a delicate baby. That he is. He's so delicate. He's such a tiny, small boy. He needs a lot of support. He's very lucky to have humans in this house with him. He's so mad. Okay, so I will see you next week. Tell all your friends about Self-Care Sunday so we can all do this together because it's super fun. And new workbook. I'm sending them out on Wednesdays now, and then I'll send you a reminder on Sunday. So just in case you forgot, you don't lose out on the workbook, even though it will always be in your inbox unless you delete it. So you'll get that on Wednesday, and then we'll chat next Sunday. And if you need support in between then, just let me know. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful Mother's Day, whatever that means for you. If you're a plant mom, if you're a dog mom, if you mom yourself, if your mom is around, if your mom is not around, I love you. And take care of yourselves. Okay? Bye.